I predicted the Philadelphia Eagles to go 9-7 last year. And the big storyline I was interested in was, can Carson Wentz, the quarterback, stay healthy? So, by the way, the Eagles did actually go 9-7. Interesting. They did make the playoffs. Good for them. But, it was a weird year. BleedingGreenNation.com did a poll that they sent to fans. A fan sent it to me. And 71% of Eagles fans voted that the Eagles' 2019 season was both a success and a disappointment. And I don't blame those Eagles fans. Again, a success, but also at the same time, a disappointing year. Yes, the Eagles made the playoffs, but they won and did that more because of the fact that their division, the NFC East, was pretty mediocre. Now, to me, the bright spot of the Eagles' 2019 season was their quarterback, Carson Wentz. I'm a huge fan. I love the guy. Now, I predicted the Eagles to go 9-7. Did that happen? Yes, it did. But I was still pretty wrong about how it went down. I was wrong about how difficult it would be for the Eagles to reach 9-7. I said in my prediction topic that if Carson Wentz played at a high level, then the Eagles would have a better record than 9-7. Now, unfortunately, Carson Wentz was spectacular, and yet the Eagles still only won 9 games. That's, I don't know. Now, honestly, in 2019, what the Eagles showed was that they need more offensive weapons. It's really been tough for me to watch other quarterbacks around the NFL. Guys like, Kirk Cousins had tremendous weapons around him in 2019, or Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay had really great receiving talent to work with. No, I'm a big believer of Carson Wentz. He elevated the Eagles last year. But I think you got to put better pieces around. If you put even better pieces around Carson Wentz, give him some great receivers, give him some better weapons, oh my gosh, special things will happen. They already won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. They did it on Carson Wentz's rookie contract. And that year, he was phenomenal. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I think if you keep building around Carson Wentz, you are going to be handsomely rewarded. Now, what I want to do, I want to tell you a fragment of a story that people often misinterpret and manipulate. Here's one sentence. If we stopped there, it'd be a problem. We won't just stop there. Here's a true statement. Carson Wentz got hurt in the playoffs last year. If that's the end of the story, then you could argue that, Carson Wentz is injury prone. But if you did that, you would be being totally dishonest. That's not a good way to do it. You got to look at the context of what happened. Number one, what was Carson Wentz's injury? In the first quarter of a playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks, Carson Wentz got hit in the head. And Eagles fans called it a dirty hit. To me, it was questionable. It was, that cliche, a bang-bang play where, the NFL ruled it incidental contact. To me, that's what it looked like. But either way, it was really sad. Carson Wentz got hurt, and it cost the Eagles their chances at winning a playoff game. They put in the backup guy, Josh McCown. And I like Josh McCown. He's no Carson Wentz, though. But the injury in the playoffs was a fluke. It was not evidence that Carson Wentz is injury prone. It's just not. You have to take a step backward and look at the full context of Carson Wentz, both his 2019 season and his entire career. Last year in 2019, Carson Wentz played all 16 regular season games. It's the first time he's done that in a while. He's been in the NFL for 4 years. In year one, he played 16 games. In year two, he tore his ACL. In year three, he had a lingering back injury, a fractured vertebrae, which is an awful, awful thing to try to play football with. And the Eagles decided to end Carson Wentz's season early in year three because they wanted to ensure his long-term health rather than have him play hurt and risk getting even more injured. So year one, 16 games. Year two, torn ACL. Year three, a fractured vertebrae. Year four, played all 16 games and then had a fluky injury where he got hit in the head and had to go into concussion protocol in the NFL playoffs. I don't know. Carson Wentz had unfortunate back-to-back injuries, but the sample size is so small. If you go, half the years Carson Wentz has played, he's been injured. He missed games. He missed full parts of the season. You could say that. You could say he's only played 16 games in half of his seasons in his career, but he's only played 4 years. So if you do that, you're being dishonest and you're not telling the whole story. I really believe Carson Wentz is a special talent, and the Eagles just need to give him more help. They need to keep investing in him because he's a really, really great quarterback. And it's so annoying to me. People regularly compare Carson Wentz to the Rams quarterback, Jared Goff. He's so much better than Jared Goff. It's just ridiculous to compare Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. Carson Wentz is a way better quarterback. Here are like the 3 best young quarterbacks in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, Carson Wentz, and Deshaun Watson. They're the 3 best. He's physically so much more talented than Jared Goff. He's a way better passer. He's a better athlete. And it's really sad to me the way that Carson Wentz is viewed in the NFL. He's kind of the ultimate what if. Nobody ever seems to appreciate the year that Carson Wentz had, the season that the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. All anybody remembers from that year is Nick Foles, the backup quarterback. And I don't blame him. It's an amazing story. Carson Wentz got hurt. Nick Foles came in as a backup quarterback, led the team to win a Super Bowl. It's unbelievable. But people forget that Carson Wentz put them in the position to make a Super Bowl run. Yeah, Nick Foles finished the job. But if Carson Wentz had not gotten hurt that year, he would have won the NFL MVP. He was on track to be the NFL MVP. He was phenomenal. And nobody seems to remember that. Now, would the Eagles have rallied and won the Super Bowl? I don't know. Maybe not. I do think that Carson Wentz getting hurt was a injury that helped to unify their locker room. They rallied around that opportunity. Now we're the underdogs. Our quarterback's hurt. Nobody believes in us. Let's prove everybody wrong. And they did. They won the Super Bowl. But we do also have to acknowledge, if Carson Wentz had not gotten hurt, then NFL fans would respect him a lot more. He would be greater. He'd be more respected because he probably would have won an NFL MVP. Now, I think Eagles fans are happy. They won a Super Bowl. They'll trade a Super Bowl for an NFL MVP if they had to pick one. But Carson Wentz is not well remembered in NFL history. He's got time to change the way he's viewed. But right now, the way people view Carson Wentz around the NFL is mostly just wrong. He's a great quarterback. NFL people really love him and respect him. But the fans don't quite understand how good Carson Wentz is. His film is incredible. He's a great quarterback. And Carson Wentz deserves a lot more respect than he currently gets. In case you don't know, Strong Opinion Sports is not just a YouTube channel. It is also a full audio podcast. You can find it on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, pretty much everywhere you find podcasts. And if you like podcasts, please do me a huge favor and give it a listen.